Hello, everyone. Jerry Tabatt with you with another edition of our military community. A real interesting topic today that a lot of people haven't heard about, including yours truly. And I've been around the area for quite a while. It's what we call Veterans Court, and it's run through the courthouse, State's Attorney's Office. And there's so many interesting things going on with this, and hopefully we can get some guidance out to people today. And joining me this morning to talk about that is Mr. Zach VanDyke, who is an assistant state's attorney here with the Florida State's Attorney's Office, member of the Florida Bar. Zach, thanks for coming in today. You've got with this Veterans Court, a lot of good information, but you kind of got a little additional stuff because you're a military veteran yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, I tried college after high school, and I ended up in the Army because college didn't fit. It fit the second time I tried it. So I had to grow up a little bit. And I served 4 years in the 82nd Airborne, enlisted in 1988, and ended up going to the Panama invasion and ended up participating in Desert Storm. And then when I went to college, I did ROTC and went back in the military. And from there, I just stayed in until I had a total of 22 years for active and National Guard service.
Thank you for your service too, and as a little Air Force veteran, we understand a lot that's going on. But something that a lot of people haven't heard about, Zach, including me, is the State's Attorney's Office here. We have a program called Veterans Court. What in the world is it? What's your mission, and why is it so important to our veterans?
Well, it's important to the veterans because when veterans come out of the military, and even some of the active duty members that serve at Tyndall or the Navy base locally, we can get a way to give them a diversion rather than putting a conviction on their permanent record that's going to affect them with security clearances or anything they might want to do later in life. Because the military service has such a dramatic effect on people throughout their career in the military and when they try to re-enter the community based on what they do, the seriousness of what they do, the fact that it's dangerous, the fact that the rules are different when you're in the military. It can make the interaction with the world pretty hard and pretty overwhelming when you go out and all of a sudden you don't have that big military machine behind you and your buddies to your left and your right.
Well, and one thing that's really great about this is being military veterans like we are, we see the different aspects of life. You were in Desert Storm and everything, and you see what it does to an individual. And I was over in Korea with some of the Army people, Japan. It's kind of like when you get out of the service, you're afraid to say anything, you're afraid to do anything. So you just kind of get lost in the background, and in this loneliness that you feel and this desire to be with other people, you don't really know how to do it. Well, so you kind of get into maybe the illegal side of it.
Yes.
And how do you break that barrier to these veterans that are suffering from mental health, drug abuse, and especially PTSD? How do we get them to understand that this is something that they really could benefit from?
Well, when they come into the system, when they're arrested, and we can identify them as a veteran who doesn't have a dishonorable discharge, a general discharge is okay, and identify them as being in need. They got an addiction problem, they got PTSD, and there's some domestic violence going on or something like that, or they just don't have resources. We can identify them, and as part of what they do with the court to resolve their case, we can put them into the Veterans Treatment Court, and through the court, we can get them connected up, not only with the resources that we have in the community, but also a direct link into the VA, somebody that can get them an appointment. It might take a minute to get the appointment, a few weeks, but somebody they can talk to that can help them address what their need is.
Right, and they get that feeling that, thank goodness, I'm no longer alone. Now, you can't force them into this, right, Zach?
No,
it's completely voluntary. So let's say that you talk to an individual and they decide that yeah, I want to get in the program. Kind of lead us through the steps of how you get them into the program, and then we'll also get into about the veterans mentors and things like that that you need. But how do we get them into the program, and what's the steps to go?
Okay, so a veteran has a felony drug possession case, and he is formally charged and comes to court, and he's assigned a public defender. And we can identify that that person is a veteran and he does qualify for the program. Well, rather than just throwing him back to the wolves, what we would do is, as part of his plea agreement, we would plea him and the court would order him to complete Veterans Treatment Court. But he's got to, again, he's volunteering to do it. Then he comes off of that docket, that court docket, and he'll start going to court 2 times a month. In the process, he is screened to see if he qualifies. He has to fill out a questionnaire. He has to tell us about his background. We get to look at his criminal record or her criminal record and see what's there so that we can ensure that they're a fit and there's some likelihood of success.
Now, one of the things that we look at also is once they get into the program, they have the counselors and things that are available for them, but they also need mentors.
Right.
What is a mentor, and what kind of qualities in a veteran mentor are you looking for?
Well, we need vets who are on the right path, who have been successful in the civilian world and are willing to give their time to help guide somebody who has some problems. What I've witnessed so far is a lot of the mentoring that I see going on is with the vets who have been in the program longer or taking care of the vets who are just coming into the program. For example, they have a group drug treatment that they do, and the guys that have been there a while, they're taking care of the guys who just got in, and they're exchanging phone numbers. It's like being in a military unit.
So in other words, once you're a veteran and you decide that you want to do something like this, Zach, you don't need, as a mentor, you don't need a degree in psychology or or something like this. You just need to be willing to give your time to help these people.
Right.
Because veterans like to talk to veterans. They'll talk to veterans.
Yeah, they will.
Now, what are some of the actual requirements? We talked about you have to be a veteran, but there's other things too. You have to have time available. You got to be willing to do, extra training. You got to be willing to put your trust in the court system too. By the way, speaking of the court system, is everybody in full agreement with this here in our Bay District court system? The local attorneys, the state's attorney's office, the judges, and that, where there's no, once they're in that program, everybody is there to help them. They're not going to say, okay, I'll get you in the program, but just give me the time. I'll get you in jail for something.
Well, the veteran has to walk the straight and narrow once they're in the program. The goal of the program is to get the veteran treatment and get the veteran well and able to function without, can we beat the addiction? Can we come up with anger management resources? Right. And get you training, whether it be locally or whether it be with the VA, so that you can manage your anger? Can we get you where you know how to not take a handful of pills or smoke some methamphetamine to deal with your stress? That you have other outlets and other ways to do that. And everyone at the courthouse is committed to it. There's actually 2 other programs. I mean, we have a drug court there,
right?
And that is an alternative to the traditional, you've done this, you're going to prison, right, sort of thing. And we also have a mental health court, and we see a lot of people go through the mental health court. And the point is to give these people some alternative to get them to a position in life where there's not going to be any recidivism, where they won't go reoffend.
One of the things that I wanted you to expand on a little bit is why this program do we think, Zach, that it's important that the mentors also be veterans? Why is that so important?
Well, it's important that the mentors in the program be veterans because they have some commonality with the people who are going through the program. In the military, there's a degree of hardship
Right.
in what you do, and a lot of vets, you know, you can take experiencing that hardship and you've got something in common with somebody. Someone who's never spent the night on the tarmac,
Yeah.
in the rain, in the cold, that they just don't understand. There's no common ground
Right.
to draw from.
Right.
So somebody who's been, driving a truck every day, they're a civilian, and that's what they do for a living. It's just not the same. Nobody ever told them that they had
Right.
to be out there at 2:00
Sure.
in the morning, standing there.
Now, all right, let's say I've looked at the program and I decide I want to be a veteran. What are my steps involved that if I want to be a veteran, what do I have to do to satisfy the responsibilities of the program and also satisfy the responsibilities of the court and the legal system?
As far as a participant in the court,
Yes, as a mentor, do I need a background check? Do I need to be, tested for drugs, things like that?
We have there's an application
Okay.
that you can fill out, and it's in that packet that I gave you. And through the court, you will be vetted, and then we can hook a mentor up with a veteran once you're approved. And Ms. Covington's going to be Shantae Covington at the courthouse is going to be the point of contact for that, just as she screens the veterans that are coming in.
Now, once you said, okay, Jerry, you're qualified, you can be a person in the veteran mentor program. How do you pair me up with a veteran? What qualifications, what specifications do you look at to pair the mentor up with the veteran that's having the issues?
Well, I'm going to first of all say, do you have any common ground there? I don't think we're going to make a random assignment as to, here I got a guy who for his recreational activities, he plays a lot of golf, and he does that sort of thing. And we've got another guy, and to say the veteran that's in treatment, all he does is he likes to go fishing and that sort of thing. We're going to find some common ground there, and we'll probably try to find some age commonality as well, so that we're not putting an older mentor with a really young kid who just got out.
Sure.
Life experience and needs are way different.
One thing too we need to clear up, Zach, is for some reason when you start talking about these type of programs and veterans, everybody thinks male, but there's females out there too with these same problems that qualify for this.
Absolutely. Back in 2019, or no, it was 2018, my wife competed in a pageant. It's Miss Veteran America. The fastest growing veteran population being homeless is female veterans. And she went to raise money for that. But we see female veterans in Bay County, and even the VA is skewed so that if you're a male, we can take you. But if you're a female and you might have a child, that presents a real challenge. But with the court and the state, there's some other resources. There's the Department of Children and Families. Likely, if there's a female vet and there's a child involved, or even a male vet and child and family involved, there may also be another case following the Veterans Court in the dependency system.
Yeah, and that leads me to a couple of questions too. Is Do you pair male with male and female with female, or does it make any difference as long as because this is all supervised. You don't go in and say, I'm going to come to your house and talk to you. This is supervised type, isn't it?
Yes, yes. You're going to go by the guidance of whatever they give you at the court.
No, do you approve me through the state's attorney's office, or does the court itself have to approve me? One of the judges.
You're going to get vetted by Miss Covington.
Okay.
Okay, and your name's going to go on a list, and then they're going to do that administrative piece of hooking you up.
And now, of course, this is all voluntary. There's no pay involved. This is all voluntary.
Correct.
It's veterans helping veterans.
It is.
Well, let's talk about some of the specific programs. Now, I know each one is different. If you have mental health problems or drug problems, take me through the drug portion.
Okay. So if you have a drug problem, we are going to get you in Veterans Court, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to be evaluated. You're going to have to talk to, I believe his name's Mark Ballou, and Mark is going to make some determination as to what the best avenue to get you treatment is. Locally, there's a group that they're going to have to go to, but do they need an intensive outpatient or do they need some inpatient? And then there's an inroads to get you over to Biloxi to the inpatient drug treatment, or up to Tuscaloosa to the inpatient substance abuse treatment. And the VA is going to pay for that.
Right.
The state of Florida is not going to do it, and the veteran's not going to be out of pocket to get it done. And then you're going to come back and you're going to have to go to the group. There is the aftercare portion.
Sure.
And you're going to be required to do your analysis so that we can make sure that, you were there because of a felony.
Exactly.
You volunteered, and we want to make sure that you're making it, you're walking the line. But as the veteran goes through, it's designed to take about a year. Okay. And there's less and less supervision and requirements on the veteran as they go. And then if it's a misdemeanor case, usually once they graduate, they're done with the program. If it's a felony case, if it was more serious and there's some probation afterwards, they would go into aftercare. They wouldn't necessarily have to come to court once every 2 weeks,
right?
But we would still monitor the progress.
Now, drugs act, that's pretty easy to, the veterans in this program, that's pretty easy to determine. Simple urinalysis or blood test will take care of that. But one of the things that seems to be baffling, not only locally, nationally, statewide, or whatever, is the mental portion of it. That's something that you can't just give someone a saliva test or a blood test and say, okay, you got PTSD. This is a much more involved issue. How do we go about getting identified what is the problem with the veteran and what kind of treatment is available there that differs from the drug treatment?
Well, the veteran's going to get screened. Then the veteran is going to get appointments. They're going to see a psychiatrist. Mm-hmm. They're going to see a staff psychiatrist with the VA. They may or may not get meds. Then they're going to get appointments. Now, Ballou is also a practicing psychologist, and he sees veterans for the VA. His practice is over in Crestview, but he does telehealth stuff with these veterans. And whether or not he would be monitoring them or someone else, I can't say, but they're going to get appointments and they're going to be tracked and they're going to be trained and given, strategies to deal with the PTSD, the anger, that sort of thing.
What about the families of these individuals? Are they involved? Are they getting any counseling from individuals about what to expect with the veteran in this program? Because they don't just take the veteran and say, okay, you're cut off from your family. No wife, no kids, no nothing. How are the families involved in this?
Well, I have personally witnessed family support. We did a graduation and the veteran's family came and his son came. And the goal is to keep them with their family while they're going through the program, unless there's,
There's a danger of something.
yeah, if it's a domestic violence case or a battery, there may
Sure.
be some sort of a no contact order there. But in going through the counseling, if the victim and the veteran both want to reunify for the sake of their family, the veteran is getting training. He's getting anger management. He's getting interventions, and that's going to be from both the VA and from local resources. And then as far as children go, that can become contentious because a lot of times we see veterans that are involved in the court that have very contentious family law things going on at the same time. And there may be some no contact orders. And the involvement with our court can stem from not understanding what the court orders mean in the other case. And we can help them understand that. And we also can help them deal with the grief of not being able to see their families.
Well, that's good that you try to keep those families together if at all possible. Let's say that the veteran program, drug mental health, doesn't really make any difference, but because Mental Health Act is so much more difficult to work with, is that, you said usually roughly a year for the drug program. What about the mental health program? Does that usually take a little bit longer to get some of these inhibitions, some of these thoughts and feelings that for this veteran to accept?
Well, the program we're designed to it's a year model. So, and that's going to be a year model with probably any case that's going to come in the door. If it takes longer, then we adjust what we're doing. Say you can't you can't get to your appointments and attend your meetings so that you can get to the next phase of treatment. We're going to leave you in that phase. And I've seen guys get extended, 13, 14, 15 months. And when I was a private practicing attorney, I actually had a client go through it, and he was able to get through all of the treatment inside of, I want to say, 7 months.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And that's one thing too, because a lot of these veterans act, they're used to military stuff. You got a month to do this, a month to do this. If you tell them 1 year, they say, okay, it's got to be done in a year, but you don't desert them if they need that extra time.
Absolutely
and that's
not.
what's good about it.
Absolutely not.
Let's move into something else now. Once they've got through this program and everything, does this alleviate any of the guilty verdicts they have against them? And does it erase the crime they're convicted of or the potential crime? Does that erase it off of their record?
It's situationally dependent. Generally speaking, this is a diversion, so that we're going to withhold a conviction or we're going to dismiss the case upon successful completion. It won't be like it never even happened, because it's always going to, if you go do a background check, it's going to show up that you were charged with a crime.
Sure.
It won't show that you were
Sure.
convicted. Okay, and then we have other situations where veterans are struggling in and out and in and out and in
Sure.
and out because of alcoholism or drug addiction, and give them a chance to set their life straight. We can't erase what's happened in the past,
Right.
but we can help you deal with the future.
But that's one thing that's good too, because if these veterans going through the program, if there still is something left on their record, a potential employer of those individuals can say, look, yes, you had this problem here, but you went through this veterans court system and things are going smoothly. So does that work in their favor?
Yes, it certainly does. It certainly does. They go and they get treated in veterans court. We don't see a lot of recidivism in that.
Which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the point. We don't want to see these people back out. Now, we have veterans who are hard-headed, who, they get fell out or dropped out of the program because they refuse to go to their appointments.
Yeah.
They don't stay in touch with Ballou. They don't do their UAs. They continue to use drugs. But the military, is just a microcosm of society
Sure.
at large, and there's always those guys there
Right.
who are rebels. They don't follow the rules,
Right.
and they just skate by.
And there's some of them that think that I don't need this. I can do it all on my own, which they can't. They need to reach out. Before we run out of time here, how many veterans do we have in the Veterans Court program right now? And how does he get paid for? Because if you're not VA qualified, you can't just say, okay, VA, I'm in this program. You got to pay for it. So how many veterans do we have right now, and how is the additional paid part of the program take care of?
So right now, I want to say, actively coming to court, we've had 9 veterans consistently in 2024. Now, it's Mr. Bassford, Larry Bassford, my boss.
Right.
It's his intent to grow the program.
Yes.
And we actually now have a vet from Calhoun County. I think we're about to get one from Jackson County. There's been as many as 12, and I think we could handle as many as 20. And
do you have the veterans mentors available for that? Do you have that group where if you got, say, another 5 or 6, do you have people that can step in?
I'll tell you what, we can use mentors in the system. So if anybody's interested in filling out that application and passing that on to Shantae,
okay,
we can certainly use the mentors.
Okay. Quickly here too, Zach. How's the program paid for? Because some of the times they have to pay for some of that activities themselves.
So between 2010 and 2018, there was a judge who was in Okaloosa County, Pat Maney, and he lobbied and had legislation passed so that the state of Florida funds the courts to have personnel there to do the Veterans Treatment Court. So that takes care of the administrative piece. Okay. The public defenders and the state attorneys, like myself, we participate because we're assigned there to participate.
Right.
Being a veteran, I'm glad to come and do that.
Sure.
To help out. And as far as the other resources, it's paid for however the government would fund. Veteran gets sent to life management. That's funded by the state. I'm not sure which department.
Sure.
Or you're going to the VA. Those resources are paid for by the federal government.
All right, we've got just a couple of minutes to go here, about to run out of time, but very quickly, Zach, how satisfying is it to you as an assistant state's attorney to see a veteran successfully complete this program and go on to a great life?
Well, seeing the graduations are really, it's an impressive thing. The court brings in all the service flags.
Sure.
And the veteran has done something significant because he started at a place where he was addicted or he couldn't deal with his mental issues. And that day he's walking out as a prideful veteran, as if he's accomplished something.
And that's of course a good feeling. All right, if anybody wants any more information on the program, how do they get it?
Well, they can reach out to the Bay County Courthouse, or you can email me at the state attorney's office.
Okay. That there's always somebody there that'll give you the information.
Absolutely.
Just run by and talk to the front desk there at the state's attorney's office. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You guys are there to help us.
Yeah, we are.
Zach, thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
up the good work over there. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We're out of time once again here. But again, I want you to understand that this Veterans Court is a program that is available to help our veterans, be it female, male, it doesn't make any difference. And it's not only the veterans that are in service that are out of the service now. There's also active duty people that can be available for this and put into the program. So go by the courthouse, go by and talk to Shanta Coverton over there, or go by and talk to Zach VanDyke at the state's attorney's office, or Larry Bashford. He'll help you out too. Have a great day, everyone. This is Jerry Tabatt with another edition of our military community.